It's me, Dr. KSD. Tradition plays a part in so many wonderful things that occur in our lives. Tradition is how legacies are built, what makes companies sustainable, and how generational wealth and power are built. There are many places where tradition is very important, but one place where tradition has no business showing up is when it comes to matters concerning grief. Tradition will tell you to be strong, to move on, to accept what God has allowed. But how can you do that when your heart is shattered and you feel so broken that you can barely move? You can't be strong because you are physically too weak to even get yourself out of the bed. You can't move on because you're in such a state of disarray, confusion, and pain that you can barely think straight. And you can't accept what God allows because you have so many conflicting thoughts and haywire emotions running rampant inside of you that you can barely find your way around your own home. Tradition wants you to follow a system. But how can you follow a system when your mental state is changing every minute or literally every second? So many people have allowed tradition to force them to suppress their emotions. And that's why 10, 20, 30, 40 years after a loss, grief is still able to debilitate somebody. They don't cry because they watch mama, daddy, grandma, grandpa go through funerals, stoic, being strong, saying things like, God don't make mistakes. And they did manage to cry. What happened? There came the troll saying, don't cry, or look, go to the back, go collect yourself and then come back. BS about you need to move on. But let me tell you one of the most freeing things that I discovered during my own grief journey. If I want to cry, I am going to cry. And I will not hide the fact that I am sad. And if anybody is uncomfortable with my grief, guess what? They can just move it right on ahead. They can exit left stage. They can disappear. They can just go on about their business because I refuse to feel bad because I was best enough to be loved by somebody and to love somebody so much that it hurts that they are gone. Grievers are made to feel like villains because of tradition. And that needs to stop today. And the bottom line is this: people don't know how to handle grievers. So they unfairly make grievers feel bad about their grief. They know what grief feels like, but they were too afraid to express their emotions because they feared they would be chastised, judged, or criticized. But do you know what happens when unexpressed emotions linger in your soul? Those unexpressed emotions get anchored down in your spirit, anchored so strongly that it anchors you to that moment of your loss. The anchor keeps you stuck in the past. And that is exactly what the devil wants to accomplish in your life. The devil wants you to be stuck in your past. You know why? Because as long as you're stuck in your past, you can have no future. But I want to encourage you today. Free yourself of those traditions that make absolutely no sense. You can be the person who breaks the chain. When you break that chain, then you can live a life with purpose on purpose. I am going to be sad every single day of my life. Every day I wake up and realize my Papa Bear is gone, I am going to be sad. I refuse to be anchored to August 27th of 2019. I refuse to let grief win. As long as you allow traditions to control how you feel, when you feel, what you feel, you will always be anchored to that moment in time in your past. Be free of the past. Break that chain that is binding you, that are keeping you from living your life that God predestined for you to live. God has you here for a reason. Make it stop with you so that your legacy will know how to live in spite of loss. Grief only wins when we allow ourselves to remain anchored to the past. Cutting the attachment to that anchor does not cut your tie to your loved one. Cutting that anchor allows you to be able to remember your loved one without it debilitating you each and every time. You deserve to continue living and not just existing. Break the chain of tradition. Do it for you, do it for your loved one, do it for your legacy.